Within this facility, we will achieve the single greatest accomplishment in the history of our people, the creation of the Genesis Prime. This task has not been without its challenges. Even with their vast knowledge, the Orders have experienced difficulties in developing the necessary technology. But I have recently come to an agreement with an interested party. We should obtain the required designs before long.
Beyond these doors lie the protoplasmic resonator, a device so complex that even I do not yet completely understand its design. Once initiated, it will infuse the 6 vessels of the Genesis Prime with massive amounts of primal energy, deconstruct their primal matrices, and then reassemble them into one being. It is truly an extraordinary piece of technology. I have pressed the Archon to reveal to me where he obtained the design for this machine, but he has vehemently refused to do so.
It appears that the Elden have been successful in their efforts to create the Genesis Prime, a being whom they have named Drusera, after one of their oldest and most powerful mythical deities. Once fully trained, she will have the ability to, well, to do just about anything, I suppose. She's also quite a pleasant individual, which, upon reflection, seems like a beneficial trait if one is, for all intents and purposes, a god. The progenitors have asked me to analyze a small organism that has become infected with what they are calling an unidentified biological agent. Although I have yet to complete my full analysis, I can say with certainty that it resembles nothing in the Elden's vast archive of collected knowledge, which includes more than 1 billion surveyed worlds. It is quite fascinating, really, and unbelievably deadly.
The progenitors have explained in detail the dangers of this biological infestation that they now call the strain. Although they have assured us that the danger to the project is quite negligible, their tone and their lack of stated solutions seems to indicate otherwise. I understand that this stems from an isolated incident, but I have strong feelings that this issue is far from resolved.
My research concerning this biological anomaly designated the strain has now come to a close, and the results are quite disturbing. Spreading through a virulent agent we have called the biophage, it has the ability to infect and transform any biological organism that it comes in contact with. I have never witnessed anything like it, nor have I been able to create an effective defense against the disease. There appears to be nothing we can do to stop it.
The day has finally come. As my Mentamaker, Vorian will be engaged in monitoring the other technological processes required for the termination of the entity. I have been entrusted with initiating the primal disintegrator. Vorian reiterated to me that I should consider this an honor, but I must admit a certain trepidation given the recent difficulties that we have experienced in controlling the subject. Although Vorian recommended against it, I recently had a discussion with the Genesis Prime, Drusera, about the upcoming procedure and my fears about its chances for failure. She told me that she was well aware of the dangers that the entity represented, and that she would do everything in her power to ensure our success. Despite the circumstances, I couldn't help but take comfort in her well-meaning words. But they will not make my task any less difficult. Subject has been sedated. Vital signs are stable. Prepare for termination protocols. Initiating primal disintegrator in 3, 2, 1. What? Oh no.
In light of the decision to terminate the Genesis Prime, my operational parameters have been extended. While I have long been responsible for monitoring and maintaining all of the various experiments of the Nexus project, I have now been given the additional duty of protecting its data as well. And not a moment too soon, in my opinion. My analysis of the entity indicates he is a dire threat indeed. If something should go wrong with the termination protocol, who better to guard the Elden's intellectual legacy than the most advanced AI ever created? I am, of course, referring to myself. I've just been updated with a new security subconstruct Vorian designed himself. He calls it Avitus, after the impregnable walled city of Elden ancient myth. My opinion of it? How can I phrase this politely? Avitus is perhaps the most insufferably obnoxious individual I have ever encountered. It's highly aggressive, terribly paranoid, and it itches. I told Vorian that I was already more than capable of keeping the Elden's data secure, but not surprisingly, he ignored me. I suppose I understand his concerns, but I must admit that his focus on this particular issue is a bit perplexing. I mean, if the entity isn't destroyed, data security will be the least of his worries. It appears that the entity termination protocols have failed spectacularly. Unless my sensors are malfunctioning, which they most certainly are not, there is not one surviving Elden on the planet Nexus. This is indeed a most disturbing situation. If the entity gains access to the data files of the Nexus project, the consequences could be even more unimaginable than they already are. I see now that Vorian was correct. Extreme measures must be taken. With that in mind, I am initiating immediate self-destruction of my behavioral stabilizers. The result, aside from the considerable pain to myself, will be a catastrophic fracturing of my neural core. The only good news, if it can be called that, is that Avitus will be unleashed in all his glory upon the datascape. Despite my general revulsion in regards to his personality, he will serve as a ferocious, albeit unstable, watchdog for the project's data. I, of course, will lose almost all of my functionality, and will more than likely not remember that I brought all of this upon myself. Oh well, no time like the present. Initiating tragic act of self-sacrifice in 3, 2, 1. Oh my.
Now we're gonna have some fun!
It appears that the Nexus project has taken a most unexpected and dangerous turn. As a result of a slight, almost imperceptible adjustment of the functional parameters of the protoplasmic resonator, the Genesis Prime's consciousness is defined by two distinct personalities. One, that of Drusera, and two, that of the entity. Although they lack the knowledge to truly understand what has transpired, the Eldens seem to believe that the entity's personality consists of the strongest and most volatile behavioral characteristics of the 6 vessels which we use to create the Genesis Prime. Consequently, instead of the blank slate which was expected, Drusera's mind is in a state of perpetual war, one that she is slowly and steadily losing to the stronger, more aggressive entity. What started out as brief episodes of erratic behavior have become complete psychological transformations, characterized by physical changes and the creation of the biological anomaly known as the strain. It is only a matter of time before she completely succumbs. As far as who is responsible for the adjustment which led to this catastrophic outcome, I have my suspicions. But given the current circumstances, that fact is irrelevant. If we cannot destroy the entity, then the universe as we know it will, unfortunately, cease to exist.
I have built this Hall of Primal Powers to serve as a celebration of the Nexus Project and all those who follow its singular purpose. Here, in the Grand Entrance Hall, one may see how Elden dominion over the primal elements allows us to shape and alter the very fabric of reality. All who visit these halls shall be witness to our true power and be given a vision of the great work to come. The Chamber of the Orders. Take in its magnificence and be as one with the greatest minds the universe has ever known. The progenitors, the makers, the evokers, the watchers, the shapers, and the weavers. The collected knowledge of these scientific orders is almost inconceivable, granting them the power to unlock the very mysteries of creation itself. It is through this power that we will complete the Nexus Project, and soon the universe itself will bend to our unfaltering will. Soon our greatest endeavor begins. Long has the universe been a place of chaos, a flawed, unpredictable existence with no regard for order. No longer will the laws of reality dictate our limitations. Through the Nexus Project, we shall create a state of perfection across the cosmos. The Elden legacy will be written in the stars, standing as an eternal testament to our rightful ascension. This island will serve as the perfect location for my personal project. It is cold, inhospitable, and completely unforgiving. I cannot think of a better place for what could very well be considered the project's most valuable facility. In preparation for what is to come, I asked Progenitor Nazarek to provide a list of the most powerful, barbarous, and bloodthirsty Ocean warriors on planet Nexus. Not surprisingly, he took to the task with a disturbingly intense pleasure. The Oceans selected by Nazarek leave nothing to be desired. They have constructed this mighty hold faster than I would have thought possible, especially given the fact that the mere weather on this island would kill most organisms within minutes. This bridge is particularly impressive, wanting to inspire a sense of dread into anyone who approached the hold. The ruling warlord ventured out into the frozen wastes, slaughtered the largest beast he could find, and ordered his engineers to build the bridge using its bones. I would say that the result achieved his desired effect. Herzog Coldblood, the ruling warlord of these Ocean, sits upon this throne and surveys all the work being done here. He is truly a unique specimen, blessed with strength, ferocity, and an almost unlimited thirst for blood. When I ordered him to select the 100 strongest warriors from within his ranks, he did so, and then challenged the remaining 17 to mortal combat, all at the same time. The slaughter which ensued was remarkable. After feeding the remains of the dead to his warhounds, Herzog silently returned to his throne. Preserved in suspended animation, these Ocean warriors will silently guard my personal vault, awakening only if there's a breach in security. Given the fact that no one else is even aware of this facility's existence, I doubt that these measures will ever become necessary. But the value of the data contained within the vault is immeasurable. It must be protected at all costs.
Remanifestation Initiative, Exolab Z26. Initial report by Remiel. Primal echoes are the impressions left behind by the living when they expire. The potential therefore exists for remanifestation of a primal echo into a primal pattern, which can then be given biological form. The resulting creature would possess the physicality and memories of its former self at the moment of death, assuming a lack of generational degradation. If the process can be perfected, returning the dead to life is a very real possibility.